man only had to glance at the pool of blood on the floor. He immediately concluded that the killer was tall and powerfully built. At the crime scene, aside from that pool of blood, there were no signs of a struggle or forced entry. Even the victim's body had been removed. It was obvious that the victim had been suspended in midair by some kind of device. After slitting his throat, the killer used gravity and the victim's final heartbeats to drain every last drop of blood from his body. From the 3 pressure marks surrounding the bloodstain, it was clear that a tripod had been used to hoist the victim. Lifting a full-grown man with nothing but a tripod required extraordinary strength. This serial murder case in United Kingdom had haunted him for years, but he never imagined the killer would follow him all the way to New York City and strike again. Watson noticed something unusual in Sherlock Holmes's expression. There had to be a deeper secret behind the case that had plagued him for so long. When they returned home, they discovered the killer had broken into their residence. He had left a note for Holmes on the living room table. It was signed with a single letter, M. The message, assembled from newspaper clippings, was clearly meant to mock him. Thomas arranged for officers to guard the door. Watson insisted on staying with Holmes. But after Watson went upstairs to bed, Holmes climbed onto a bookshelf. He retrieved a hidden microcamera from inside a book. The footage showed the killer entering the apartment 2 hours earlier. He placed the note on the table and then calmly left. The camera captured the exact moment he turned around. Meanwhile, the killer was tailing a young woman into her apartment building. She appeared to be his next target. Just then, a street vendor selling counterfeit goods approached him. The vendor kept pushing a cell phone, refusing to take no for an answer. Annoyed and drawn into an argument, the killer attracted the attention of nearby pedestrians. Seeing the unwanted attention, he had no choice but to leave. An hour later, a patrol officer brought that same vendor to Holmes's home. The vendor, Teddy, had been secretly investigating the suspect using a photo Holmes had provided. Following Holmes's instructions, he had inquired at several hotels. He eventually narrowed down the suspect's location, but his phone was damaged during the process, leaving him unable to make contact. So he came in person to report back. Holmes was not home at the time, but Watson noticed from the angle of the photo the hidden camera on the bookshelf. By the time Holmes returned that evening, Watson had already been waiting in the living room. Holmes had captured a clear image of the killer but hadn't informed the police. He had even allowed Teddy to follow the suspect alone. Holmes was supremely confident in his deductions. Judging by the suspect's designer clothing, he had significant financial means. He also appeared to have arrived in New York only recently. That suggested he was likely staying at a luxury hotel. There was also a distinct scent lingering on the note. Holmes recognized it as the fragrance of high-end hotel soap. Starting the search with nearby upscale hotels would almost certainly yield results. But he chose not to share these deductions with the police. He didn't want anyone else capturing the killer first. 2 years earlier, Holmes's lover, Irene Adler, had died at this murderer's hands. Now the killer had resurfaced in America. In that moment, Watson saw something chilling in Holmes's eyes. There was killing intent. Holmes contacted his informant, Teddy, demanding constant updates on the suspect's movements. He learned that earlier that day, the killer had followed a young black woman. At that very moment, she was tied up inside her home. The killer had set up his tripod. He was preparing to kill her the same way as before. Just then, Holmes appeared behind him.
Me, baton.